What's good, fam? Agent O here with an action figure review. And for a while now, I've been meaning to get back into doing Transformer reviews, and so I wanted to get back into it in a major way. So here we are with the MasterMind Creations reformatted Seraphicus Prominon. I'm just going to call him Nova Prime because that's what we know him as, and that's what this third-party figure is supposed to be based off of. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into this review. But before I do, I do want to point out, which I usually don't do because I don't care about box art and the box presentation, but what I've noticed with MasterMind Creations is that they're pretty well known for their, I think one of their things is that their presentation is like really on point, to where I think it's better than most professional, I guess, actual, name brand toys. But I do dig the fact that they have this little display window thing that you can open up and you can see the figure on the inside, and there's more art on there. I don't care, honestly, I don't care for this shit, but when somebody does something and they do it right, I will point that shit out, and they actually do pretty good job of this. There's a little magnet on the inside of on both the flap and the door and on the rest of the box, so it snaps shut. So I mean, it's nice. There's I like how they use the matte coloring, just the flat matte finish, and then all the images and the lettering, it's all on like a shiny decal of some sort. You can see it reflecting the light off the box. But yeah, like, it's cool. It's not really necessary, if this was in a regular box, as long as the figure inside is dope, that's all I care about. But I did want to point this out because I'll give respect where respect is due. So without further ado, I'm gonna get this open, and we're gonna start with Nova himself. We'll get to the trailer slash power armor in the next part of the review. And here's Nova. Right off the bat, I mean, you can see he's a pretty tall, I would say, Voyager class figure. I really like the design of this guy. I remember seeing this. I remember seeing their designs, the CG models that they did way back, and I want to say like 2013 on TFW. 2005.com, and then for some reason they just never put the figure out, and then now now it's out. So I'm really impressed. I was impressed with the CG model, and I'm impressed with this finished product. So without further ado, just jump into the posabilities. I adjust my camera up. So right off the bat with his head, he's on a double ball joint, one in the head, and one in the base of the neck. So even though it's a skinny double ball joint, it still gives you a lot of range of motion. You can go all the way around. He looks up really far. You can look down really far. You can do the whole swivel neck thing. Whoops, whole swivel neck thing. And yeah, it's good. No complaints there. On his arms, he has a I guess it's just a traditional swivel joint, but you can go out. The shoulder pads kind of get in the way, but you can kind of angle them a bit so you can get a bit more range of motion. But ultimately, this is as far and as high as you're going to get. It does rotate all the way around, nothing there. And due to the transformation, because as you can see, the wheels are on the inside of the body, because of the transformation scheme, you do actually end up with a butterfly joint. And this actually is nice because it allows you to double grip the swords that he comes with. But more on that in a little bit. He's got double jointed elbows. and you know that's about as far as you're gonna get. You know, as high as you're gonna get. He also has a swivel joint, and this is just for articulation purposes only. There's no, this isn't part of the transformation. So I always dig extra articulation in a transformer, and it's not often you get swivel joints in transformers. So I love this, and you know there's plenty of clearance. You can go all the way around. Backpack doesn't get in the way. His legs, his hips are on a ratchet joint, and that's good because, you know, since he's a power armor type of transformer figure, you know, you're gonna need tight joints, and the joints on this figure all around are really tight. It was almost a little bit troublesome at first when I first took this guy out of the box and started messing around with him, just because of how tight the joints are. But I'd rather have tight joints than loose joints, especially when you start putting all the power armor pieces on. But moving on, it ratchets all the way out, so you know you can get a 180-degree split. His legs only come about that far. Well, no, I'm sorry, they come about that far. So this is about as far as you're going to get for the kick forwards, and backwards this is about as far as you're going to get. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad backwards. Forwards it's a little bit, you know, it's not still good. I give that a pass. That's a good pass. He has thigh swivel. I kind of wish the thigh swivel was a little higher. I don't like it being so low, but that's just a personal nitpick of mine. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this swivel. It's pretty firm and tight. He's got double jointed knees, but that's mostly because of the transformation. Once you start transforming him, you'll be able to get it all the way up there, all the way, you know, over his legs and everything, over his thighs. But for now, this is as far as it's going to go because of this back panel on his leg. And his feet are, I don't know what they're on actually. His feet are on a ball joint on the side actually, right in here, right up in there. So you know you can go back, you can go forward, and because they're on the side, you get a little bit of ankle rocker. But you know these pieces kind of get in the way, but it still looks good if you're trying to get it. If you're trying to get him in some spread the leg, some wide leg stances, you can still tilt them so it at least looks the part, like so. Whoops, sorry. Still tilt it like so, and it still looks proper. It doesn't look out of place or anything, even though the bottom parts of the legs kind of get in the way. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, I really like this. I really like the design of this character. It's pretty streamlined. One other thing I wanted to point out is if you pull this panel down, there's a little matrix in there. That's pretty slick. There's good use of translucent plastic in there. So say you want to shine a light in the back to get the matrix glow effect, you can do that. Close that up. There's translucent plastic on his forearms, on the bottoms of his legs, and you know on the trailer portion also, on the, you know, the top of the cab when in vehicle mode. So that's there too. I really just like how MasterMind Creations just crams all kinds of detail on this figure. You've got venting up here. You've got this armor paneling in the abdomen area, and you know he's only like 4 colors, I guess you could say, and 5. I'm sorry, 5 colors. I'm counting it all right now as I'm talking, and it's like 5 colors. He's got the dark navy blue, which is kind of grayish in tone. I don't know if my camera can pick it up, and then obviously the white. He's got this like gunmetal gray, more dark blue, the blue green in the head, in his head, and on the neck, and in the eyes, and the silver, and he's got some yellow on his leg, on his thighs, and on the sides of his legs. So I mean, just that little bit of color combined with all the surface detail, all the sculpted surface detail, it really goes a long way to keeping this figure looking interesting no matter what angle you've got him in. I will say though that some of these areas could have used a second coat of paint. Whenever you're dealing with plastic that's a darker color, like right here, this could have used another shade of yellow, or another layer of yellow. Same thing up here in his neck with the blue-green. Could have used another coat. I don't know, my camera might not pick it up that well, but yeah, definitely with could have used a couple extra coats here and there, but everything else I think looks really good. And you know, since everything else looks so nice, I can overlook, you know, these parts and these parts not being painted, you know, as well as it could be. I don't really have any complaints with this guy. It's just a very nicely detailed figure. There's enough, the articulation gives you enough clearance in all aspects that you can get some really nice poses out of him. Some nice action poses, some cool standing poses. You know, having him look very much like a Prime, because obviously he is, or he was, or whatever. Whatever the story, whichever version of the story you want to go with. I have absolutely no complaints, you know, other than the stuff I already pointed out. Even with those, I still feel like this is a good figure. I do want to go into the alt mode, because it's where some of my gripes actually start to come in with this figure. Oh, I also forgot to mention his hands. All his fingers are on a pin, on one pin, but they're all individual fingers, so you can mess with each finger by itself. And the thumb is also on a ball joint in the hand, so there's also that too. I forgot to mention that, so I did want to make that obvious for anybody who hasn't already seen a review of this guy. But I'm not gonna, as far as the transformation goes, I'm not going to transform him on camera. It's a waste of time. It's filler. It's video filler in my opinion. And I feel like you should, if you're gonna buy this, you should have the fun of doing it yourself and figuring things out on your own. I will say use the instructions because they are pretty helpful. Some parts are a little complicated with how the arms have to be when you transform them, but for an idea of the transformation, it's very similar to the Generations Classics Jazz. If you have that and if you've transformed that guy, then you'll have a pretty good idea of how to do this figure the same way. So through the magic of editing, I will transform this figure now. And here it is. And I really like this alt mode. I feel like it's a very, reminds me of the newer Volvo, semi-trucks, in that fact that it's very streamlined, but it still looks very big and hefty. Love the grille on the front. Looks like it will just be like a streamlined battering ram is basically what this thing looks like. And it does roll. As long as you've transformed it correctly, it will roll on all the wheels. The transformation scheme, like I said, it's similar to Generations Classics Jazz, in that the arms go underneath here, underneath the whole length of the vehicle, and the wheels swivel out. The front wheels swivel out. The chest is the hood or the front of the car, or the car and the backpack is the top of the cab and all that. It just really comes together really nice once you figure out how to transform them properly. And once you get all the pegs in the right slots and slots in the right pegs, it holds up really well. It's actually kind of a bit difficult to untransform them, because this whole piece has to come loose in order to get, this whole top piece has to come loose in order to get the rest of it, in order to start the process to putting them back into robot mode. One gripe I do have is with the back. I kind of wish there was a way to cover this up, because, you know, obviously it breaks up the illusion of the alt mode when you can see, you know, I mean, it's not really discernible, but it would have been cool to see some kind of bumper or rear portion of the vehicle mode once you transform them. I know that would have taken a bit more engineering, but despite that, overall, you know, I feel like this really comes together as a design. I've got no complaints. I love the windshield. I love how it looks like it shouldn't have passengers in it. It's not a vehicle made to maintain passengers, and so I just like the futuristic yet kind of classic feel that this thing has. I got no complaints with this alt mode. I really don't have anything other than it's a bit of a pain at first, and I really do suggest you look at the instructions on how to transform this guy, just so you don't end up breaking pegs or anything, because I did break, there's a peg underneath here. See where these holes are on the shoulder pads? There are holes on the other side, and on the top of this roof, top of this the front of the car or the vehicle mode, there are two pegs that will fit into these holes. I broke the one on this one trying to figure out how to properly get these hands in or arms fixed in here into the underneath the cab, because it's you have to get the hands around these hip I don't know what you want to call them, flanges or some shit, I don't know what you want to call them. These hip pieces, they don't move, they're not articulated, and so you gotta work the hands around them. But once you do, and like I said, once you get used to it, it all comes together and it all looks pretty damn spiffy. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this figure. I want to move on to the power armor. Oh, actually, before that, I want to talk about the accessories that this guy comes with. So hang tight, and I'll be right back. Okay, like I said before, he comes with some accessories. Comes with, I'm gonna move him out of the way for a sec. Comes with this handgun, which I really like. I like how it's got an old school, kind of like future western feel. It's got the barrel in the front that does rotate. Does rotate around. It's got the hammer in the back. Fits in his hands quite nicely. Actually, it fits in both modes, in his regular mode and in his power armor mode. It's not that hard. I'm making it look a lot more difficult than it needs to be, and yeah, it just fits right in there. You don't even really need the fingers to secure it, but you know, for image sake, you know, you can. Fits in rather quite nicely. And he also comes with these translucent swords. If the sword looks familiar, I know it might be a little hard to pick up on camera because it's just one translucent piece of plastic, but if it looks familiar, it's because it's the sword that you get with Generations Classics Drift. I guess they modified it a little bit because the blade is a little longer, just by a little bit, and the handle is also longer. You know, overall it's a bit bigger and a bit longer, and they changed the Japanese kanji. What you see on Drift Sword is going to be different on this one, obviously to avoid copyright. I don't think my camera's gonna, oh, there we go. It got a little bit of focus, but yeah, the kanji is different, as you can see. So, yeah, I mean, that's where these swords come from. They also, if you look down in here, you can see where the swords fit in his backpack for storage. And he comes with 2 of these guys. I've only got one up right now, but he comes with the 2. And yeah, they both fit in the back there. Very nice, very snug, and they fit in both modes, both in the Nova Prime mode and in Nova mode. So there is that. He does also come with one more weapon. I'll get to that in a bit. Actually, I'll just get to it right now because it is time to review the trailer. And once again, the only reason why I'm showing this box is because presentation wise it's very, very pretty, blah blah blah. It's got the window on with the magnet again, so you can see the inside, and there you can see the sword on the inside is stored in the trailer piece. But yeah, I'm gonna open this up real quick and get the trailer out so we can get to reviewing that also. And this is the trailer. I really dig this. I think this is a very, very nice piece of engineering on MasterMind Creations' part. I love the look and aesthetic of this trailer. You know, you can see some of the pieces, some of the parts that that make up the power armor worked into it. But it's basically a cradle for the power armor. And I just like all the detail. It's very busy, but it's busy in a good way visually. Once again, better view of the sword. Something's shaking around in there. I think the helmet came. Yep, the helmet popped off of the off of its where it was housed. But I'll put that off to the side, and when I open it, I'll be able to show you where it all fits in. But yeah, I think this looks really good. I can't get over just how well crafted and put together this is. You know, if this is what they spent all their time trying to make sure they got right and with the engineering that they put into it, then I think it was well worth the wait. So, you know, I mean it's basically blue, white, and orange, you know, color-wise. But there's tons of, once again, you've got tons of hash marks and detailing. It just looks very, very well. I can't really tell you anything else. You know, you just have to see it, you know, to see, you know, what I'm talking about with how well this is put together. So I'm gonna open this up because there is a little bit of a transformation. But for anybody who happens to get this figure, make sure you take the sword out first before you start to open up the cradle, because it's actually in the way. Kind of in a way locks it all into place to keep you from opening it. So before I open it though, I do want to talk about this sword, because this sword is pretty fucking badass. I really love the design of this blade. It would actually be kind of cool to see somebody like Man-at-Arms Reforged actually make this in real life. I love how it's got the matrix in the center of it, in the hilt of the sword. These silver metal accent pieces, the metal part going up the tang of the Energon sword. Yeah, I like the way this is put together. It just looks like it's going to cut anything this blade touches, and it fits nicely into Nova's hands, like very, very snug. Once again, you don't even need the fingers to secure it, but for aesthetics, you can do that. Fits in his hand, fits in his hands in both modes. You can only double grip the sword in Nova mode. You can't do it in Nova Prime mode, unfortunately. because of the limits in the articulation, and you know, just because robot parts get in the way. But yeah, I mean, he's got his sword in one hand, gun in the other, and he's just ready to do battle and ready to take down anybody that happens to stand in his way. But yeah, once again, I really dig this sword, and I'm just happy with how they pulled everything off. But put this off to the side, and we can get to transforming this. And the only reason why I'm doing this on camera is because I really like how all of this works. First, you want to just kind of open these two. Whoops. First thing you kind of want to do is this part comes down, this folds out, then this folds up. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm skipping stuff because I don't do this on camera often. But yeah, all this comes out, and then now it's standing up, and then I'm gonna push that back a little bit so I can adjust the cam. And then this is why you have to remove the sword, because this opens up, this side opens up, and then this piece flips all the way around, all the way, and it makes the back. You got these little stabilizers. You kind of have to put them in before you fix this bottom piece to the base. You can't really fix it to the base until you've slid these pieces in, and then you can put it down, and then it's secure. And if you want, you can put the sword back in here for storage again. But be careful, because it kind of bends the sword a bit, so I don't put it in all the way. Just put it in about like there, because it can bend the sword, and I don't want that. I don't want your sword to look you know, limp or anything. But yeah, you can see where all the pieces are. You can see how this is just a cradle. The trailer is just a cradle for the power armor pieces, and here's where the head fits in. The head fits in on that, and there you have it. Like I said, this is just a very keen piece of engineering work. I wish Hasbro would do stuff like this with Optimus. You know, even if Optimus doesn't need power armor, even if Optimus just has the trailer opens up and he's got a bunch of weapons in there, kind of like in the third or fourth Transformer movie. That was actually one of the cool things about that film, even though I hated the rest of it. I thought that his trailer opening up to kind of like a mini armory was actually a cool idea. One of the only cool ideas they had in any of those films. But once again, I like this. I love how everything fits in here. All the pieces not only serve as a filler piece for the trailer mode, but once you've got it opened up, it looks like some shit out of like Iron Man, where the machine would be like reaching out and putting all the armor pieces onto Nova. So yeah, I'm not gonna waste time showing you where all the pieces go. It's all kind of self-explanatory. So once again, through the magic of editing, I'm going to transform him now. Alright, now we've got Nova Prime almost all the way transformed. There's just one thing I wanted to point out that I saw, that I whenever you put on armor pieces for the arms, you always see the hand sticking out. So what I did, because I noticed it on the packaging, is I turned the hand in reverse so it kind of looks all white on the inside and on the outside. So all you notice is just the power armor hand instead. This is something you could do for just purely for aesthetics. I like it. I think it looks better. I think it makes the figure look better overall. So just for the sake of instruction, you know, just flip this hand in reverse like so, and then just then you can just snap the armor piece on. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand. It's easier when the figure's in front of me. And there we go. And there you have it, Nova Prime in his power armor mode. Now, some of the articulation is limited because of the extra pieces. So, you know, no, I haven't seen any Transformer company fully perfect posability and a power armor Transformer. But this comes pretty close. You can still get some okay stuff out of this guy. I would love to get some kneeling poses, you know, that sort of thing. I tried to lift this guy up using some of my stands, but he's just way too heavy with all the extra armor pieces. One thing I do think they did really well though was with this crotch guard piece. These parts are on ball joints, so you can rotate them and move them back and forth, and they stay out of the way for the most part. But yeah, I love this power armor setup. I really dig the wings because you've got rotation going this way. You also have it going out, you know, back and forth. The wings can also turn up, and of course they can spread, and all the wing pieces, the feather parts come out. I love how they use this dark blue to kind of break up the translucent plastic, and I like how at the ends of the wings it looks like on the wing tips it looks like there's, you know, gun barrel. So he's got like this powered up laser, you know, wing attack that he could pull off. But you know, when you have the wings all spread open, and he just looks very menacing, and he just looks very thorough. He's just a very thorough looking toy. For some reason, this piece comes loose on mine. I don't know if that's the same on every Seraphicus figure, but this piece kind of swivels in and fits into the peg. I don't know why it's not doing it now. Now it wants to be a pain in my ass. There we go. I wish these were a little bit more secure if I had to make a complaint. But even with the extra wing pieces, you can still get that torso articulation. As far as like details, I love these turbine detailing on the wings. You also can see it on the back, on the backpack. I think that's a really nice touch. I also love how this pack fits so snugly, and it's molded specifically to fit, you know, on the backpack of Nova, and it just looks like it's part of it. It doesn't look like an extra bulky piece of plastic. It's molded on there quite nicely, and I really dig that. And of course, like I said before, the swords can still fit in there with no problem, even in this mode. The gun can also fit in power armor mode, and likewise his giant sword, which I still have packed in the trailer. Sword fits in, actually fits in easier in this mode than it does in Nova's hands. But yeah, This arm's kind of loose now. I don't know why. I'll have to look into that. But it wasn't loose before when I first started messing with this. Whoops. But yeah, I mean, overall, I really dig this toy. I'm pretty happy I bought this. I think this is gonna look good in anybody's collection of you know, Transformer figures and stuff. So one other thing I did want to talk about was the trailer. There really isn't, other than it being a armor rack for all of Nova Prime's armor pieces. There really isn't anything else you can do with it. I don't really care about that. I did see a couple people's reviews where they did complain about that. I don't care. The trailer serves a purpose. I don't need it to serve any more purpose than to be a trailer and to be a housing station for the power armor pieces. I don't need it to transform into a gun. I don't need it to do anything else other than do that. And yeah, you are kind of left with this empty thing, but once again, I don't really care because I have this. I have all of this to play with and to have fun with. So yeah, I really enjoy this figure. I think this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, third-party figure right now that I've bought so far. The price point is insane because it was over $200. I think it was like $200-something for both the figure and the trailer, because you can buy the trailer, you can buy the figure and the trailer separately, or you can buy them all together. I bought them all together, but I did not pay full price because I happened to catch it on sale at TF Source. They happened to be doing a weekend sale and this guy was available, and so I picked them up, and then I had a bunch of TF Source points, so I used those two to further reduce the price. So there's no way. I paid well under $200 for this figure. So yeah, you know, you're getting a quality figure. I don't really know if it's worth the price that they're asking for it. You know, you do have, once again, you got individually articulated fingers on the one pin, just like with Nova. But yeah, I don't really know if you've got the money to splurge on this guy, then I would say go for it. I mean, it's definitely not a bad figure considering all the problems that could have potentially went wrong with this toy. I think everything they wanted to do, I think they executed it well. It's definitely beyond whatever expectations I had going into buying this figure and getting it out of the box and playing around with it. Like I said, it's, you know, if it's a matter of price, I would try to catch it on sale if you can, and you know, maybe shave a few dollars off of it. It's one of those things where I feel like you're paying for quality in one respect, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of things could have they could have skimped on some things in order to cut down the price. Like, say, all this graphic art for the box, the instruction booklet. Whoop, as my toy starts to slide off my table. The instruction booklet, like I said, it's great that things are in color. Maybe they could have saved some money by only printing it in black and white. I do really enjoy how nice and big the instructions are. Maybe they could have used cheaper paper, but I do dig the size and the pictures that they provide for you to see with in the instruction booklet. It really helps with messing around with this figure. But I mean, there's ways they could have cut down on cost in order to reduce the price of this figure, so it would be more affordable for some of us that are a little bit more frugal with our money and we can't spend every single dollar that we have on our hobby of collecting action figures. But if you do decide to splurge and get this guy, I don't think you can go wrong with this. Like I said, this is better than this is better than a solid figure. This is almost it's really good. You know, just barring a few little nitpicks that I have with the figure. But overall, I think this figure goes above and beyond most, you know, power armor type figures. And you know, I really don't have anything else really to say. It's a really stupendous toy. So yeah, I mean, that's gonna pretty much do it. Leave your comments, because I always love to hear what other people think, and you know, other things that anybody else who maybe have purchased this figure already might want to add to the conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I will catch you guys on the next action figure review. I am Agent O, and I'm out. Peace.